Hey guys, we're in the beautiful Rocky Mountains in Colorado. I'm hanging out with my friend Hushmand, who
Hi.
is an original Saunders owner. I was super excited to talk to you because you've got one of the original Fold models.
That's right.
And now we're talking about the Fold S.
That's right.
Right, a little bit lighter, a little bit more approachable. I'm excited to do this because we've got just some space over here. We're going to do an unboxing. I love to do that and just get an idea of what it's like to maybe receive one of these in the mail. I mean, look at this. You got two folding electric bikes in your car, no problem. And that one's not even unboxed yet. Folding bikes are cool because, yeah, a lot of times the assembly is just super easy.
That's right. That's right. I'm excited to show you the differences between the original and this new model.
Yeah.
Because of the wheel size is different, the feel is different. So,
Oh, and I'm falling behind a little bit. I never covered the Fold. People asked about it. And then there's the Fold X, which is like a 48 volt instead of 36. There's the Fold Z, which is lightweight. So hopefully we'll have more reviews and stuff.
right.
But catching up with the Fold S right now. Okay, Hushmand's gonna pull it out. I offered to help, but he says no problem. Look at that. This thing's awesome. It's gonna do the little rolling, so you don't have to carry it the whole way. And then they got that little support bar so it can kind of sit down and stabilize. Nice, man. So we're finishing up the assembly and these folks came by riding on their road bikes and they were interested in the folding fat tire bike over there. But then we started talking about the disc brakes and the narrower tires and stuff. Have you guys ever ridden e-bikes before? Or?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit?
A little bit.
Well, we're at altitude right now, so sometimes that's nice if you've got an SUV. He packed two of these in the back of his trunk and we're gonna get up and just take a little ride with it.
I would like to try this one in the snow is all.
Oh yeah.
So I'm dreaming of doing that.
Doesn't that look fun?
Yes. We're out of the town of Niwot.
Niwot, okay, yeah. Do you have a website or something?
We do. It's called secondwindcyclingclub.com.
Okay, might get some new members.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun. Do you mind if someone rides an electric bike? It looks like you got all
We have
types.
a woman, Barb, who rides her electric bike, and she rides right along. She had hurt herself at one time in the neck, so she can't do the pedaling bike anymore. So she does her electric just to keep up on exercise, and she loves it. It's perfect for her.
That's wonderful. It's so nice to see everyone getting along and just having fun. Well, look at this, guys. What a beautiful day. We just cruised over here. We got the Fold S and the Fold X behind it. Just really neat to have both bikes. I test rode both of them. It was the first time I've ever been on a Fold X, and it was nice. I like the comfortable, bigger tires. At the same time, the Fold S has those more efficient, narrower tires. It's a little bit lower.
right.
It's not quite as long because of the tires. That does add something. But we weighed both of these bikes.
That's right.
It was amazing, right?
Very close.
First of all, the Fold S, very accurate on the website. So 55.1 pounds is what I measured on that. And then the Fold X was 54 pounds. So it was actually slightly lighter, even though it looks bigger. And they're very, very similar in terms of specs, 350 watt motor. And this one, it's a little bit more compact, and it's actually built into that cast alloy rim. We've got those 6 spokes going on. It's pretty sturdy front and rear. Gives it a nice look compared to the just traditional spokes that we see back on the Fold X. The motor on this one is physically a little bit larger. It's fat bike specific, wider rims. One thing I did notice about this tubing is that being a little bit wider and higher on the Fold X, my knee, it kind of came close to that. And there were a couple times where I was a little worried I could bump my knee. I have experienced that with a friend of mine. We were riding in Mexico and she actually bumped her knees on another folding fat bike, but just that joint is a little bit bigger. So I like that on the Fold S. It seems like it's a little bit slimmer and it's lower, so it wasn't quite as vulnerable. My knees didn't feel quite as vulnerable. Comes in 3 colors, at least for now. So there's navy blue, there's like this black, and then a silver color. Really like that. The Saunders logo doesn't stand out quite as much on the navy as it does over here on the red. This one's been getting a lot of attention. A few ladies passed by, they were like, wow, and look at this helmet Hushmand's got on. It just matches. It looks really good, really fun. Both of these have ergonomic locking grips, but they've kind of got an upgrade here. I believe these are from Velo, but it doesn't actually say. 4-finger mechanical disc brakes with motor inhibitors, front and back, really nice. And I like these wire wraps. And apparently the older bikes, they came with the wraps, but you had to do it yourself. So the new ones, they're all connected. We got quick disconnects for your throttle over here, for the display, the independent button pad. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but the handlebar can be swiveled forward and back a little bit if you want to. And then we've got a telescoping stem. I believe it goes up about 110 millimeters. So you've got these little markers. Don't go too high because then these cables can get stretched, and if you turn hard, it can actually pull them, and sometimes it can disconnect. That's something I've seen on other bikes. Hasn't been a problem here, just kind of keeping an eye out. But look at how nicely these cables are routed. They're all internally routed except for the front disc brake. And then if you look at the Fold X, they're not internally routed. They're just kind of strung along the base of the frame. It's a minor thing. It's not something you notice right away, but it's something you start to appreciate after a while. And then down here, check it out, 8 magnets on that cadence sensor versus 12 on the new Fold S. That's nice. It's gonna pick up a little bit quicker, stop a little bit quicker. Again, both of these have the motor inhibiting brake levers, so it's not the end of the world if it takes a little bit longer. You just pull those brakes, but it's nice. It's just another little upgrade. Upgrades all around. Aluminum alloy frame, aluminum alloy fork, rigid, so there's no suspension here. It can feel a little bit more, a little bit jarring depending on your tire pressure. These are Kendas. They do have a decent range. It's 20 by 2.125, so it's a little bit wider to start out with, and then it's 40 to 60 PSI. Pretty decent tire, actually gives you a little bit more contact and a little bit more grip for some of this gravelly off-road stuff. Of course, these fat tires are going to be the big time performers on that, but I had no problem. I wasn't slipping and sliding around. I like that both bikes have rear rack bosses. You can see right here and here on the fat bike, a little bit more traditional here on the S, so you're not going to have a problem finding a rack. I believe Saunders is also going to offer a rack on the website. They're going to have aluminum alloy fenders. I haven't seen those yet, and I can't make any promises. You might notice that there's this little plug here. That's actually how you turn the bike on and off or charge the battery while it's on the frame. So you can just reach in there, on-off switch. It's kind of nice. I like that this matches so well, but I don't like that there's no leash. So you set it down, you might forget it, and you end up like the red one over there. We don't have the little rubber cap. It might have gotten lost. So just keep an eye on that. It's something it's kind of minor, and the bike will still work, but it's nice if you can keep track of that stuff and keep the bike looking really good. Down here, we got a 44 tooth chain ring up front, Lasco plastic guide, so the chain's not going to bounce around. It's pretty nice, especially for a folding bike where this might be in the back of your car and kind of flopping around. You don't want the chain coming off, then you got to get your hands all dirty. On the other hand, this is just plastic, right? It's a little bit lighter weight, but it could get cracked if it comes into contact with a curb or something when you're folding. So it's nice that it's got that support arm down here. Same thing at the derailleur. So that's a steel derailleur guard, and it protects the motor power cable, which does have a quick disconnect, protects the Shimano. This is just tourney, pretty basic, very entry level there, but it's 6 speeds with a grip shifter, which is kind of nice. I mean, that's a little bit more intuitive sometimes than trigger shifters plus, so it's like harder gears or easier gears, and you just shift that. It matches this half grip right back here. 14 to 28 tooth. Again, just not bad. Enough for getting around town and maybe climbing a little bit if you need to. A big step up from the single speed on the Fold X back there. So you can start to see, and that's with a 36 volt 8.8 amp hour battery, which is removable. Panasonic sells pretty good stuff. For $100 more at time of purchase, you can go all the way from 8.8 amp hours up to 17.5 amp hours. That's pretty incredible to me. I mean, that's phenomenal. It only adds like 1.5 pounds of weight too. So you're really going to expand the range and give yourself maybe more throttle time if you wanted to. I'm estimating that this bike could get between 20 and 40 miles per charge, depending on how you use it, right? Your weight, is it windy? Are you climbing hills? There's so many factors, right? Yeah, but it's great that you have that option to upgrade. The Fold X, so not the Fold, but the Fold X had a 48 volt system, so you go from 36 to 48.
That's correct.
Maybe a little bit more zippy or something like that. There's so many choices now. I mean, Saunders is really...
It's expanded, yes.
Definitely. What else has been upgraded? Because we were talking at the car about like, oh, this, and I really like that. What were some of the...
So some of the things that I've noticed is ergonomics. Obviously, this is important to me. You have the Selle Royale
gel saddle. Pretty nice.
Saddle versus a no-name brand. The grips have been upgraded. You have integrated cable routing through the frame.
Right, really nice looking.
That's very nice, very clean. The wheel system, obviously with the forged alloy.
This is right. Okay, so You'll notice here this is a horizontal dropout because it's a single speed and that helps to keep the chain tight, whereas back here this is a vertical dropout and there's no chainstay. There's just a single tube, so you don't have to have a slap guard or anything. That might be also part of some of the weight differences. There's actually more tubing going on here than there is here. There's just this drop down for the bottom bracket. By the way, 170 millimeter cranks, generic plastic folding pedals, the kind that you just push in and then flip up like that. Oh, they say VP. I was looking all over for the labeling. I'll update that on the website. But Hushmang was really excited that the front axle, this is like 9.5 millimeters. It's like a solid axle. It's like a through axle, goes all the way through. There's no quick release or anything, but that's a little bit nicer. Assembling the bike actually went fairly smooth except for one thing, which was this stem right here, which does have this little locking point. So you push it up like that. Yeah, maybe from your angle. So yeah, so there's the pin, that first step, and then right in here, do you see that bolt? During the time lapse of assembly, you might have noticed we're screwing around with this part quite a bit. We accidentally started it a little bit off and kind of started to strip the threads. It's just hard to get into this, right? You can imagine we had our like Allen keys and we were trying to screw it in like with all this stuff around. Eventually, we just unscrewed this little piece right here and then pushed the lever out of the way, and it was a lot easier to do. And that wasn't very difficult, didn't take extra time, but it did require an extra Allen key. So this comes with almost everything you need except for like a box cutter to get the box open. But then when it comes down to that part, just take your time. Don't strip it like we started to do, or it's going to take a little bit longer. Maybe consider taking that handle off or whatever. But otherwise, you know, folding bikes, they do tend to, they come together a little bit faster because they don't have to be broken down quite as much as full-size bikes.
Right. And as you saw, I was able to bring the box and the red bike folded in the back of my car.
That was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so much fun, right?
Yeah, it was so much fun.
We're up here, going in the mountains and stuff. Like, you can take a day trip with these and even go off-road a little bit.
That's right. That's right. There's a school of thought that the big fat tires, the 4-inch tires, gives you more stability, easier on the sand or snow.
Right.
The narrower tires gives you lower rolling resistance.
Right.
So it feels nimbler, it feels faster, it accelerates faster. So they both have great pluses.
Yeah, that's great feedback. And they both have similar braking systems, I noticed. It's like the Tektro disc brakes, 160 millimeter rotors front and rear, and disc brakes, they tend to stay a little bit cleaner. So if you do go off-road compared to like rim brakes that can push debris into the rims, the disc brakes are a little nicer. And then I love that both of them have this magnetic clasp so that when you fold them, it kind of keeps it from coming unfolded or rattling around in the back of your car. They've also got kickstands that stay well out of the way so you can pedal backwards and you're not going to get hung up. Gotta love that. And then the seat post on this one, this is 30.4 millimeters, 450 millimeters high. So it's actually a pretty long seat post, so you can be a taller rider. We were talking about the telescoping stem. There's quite a bit of adjustability here. And then the upgrade from this older display to this new square one, which we're gonna get into in a minute here. We were talking about range a second ago, and I just wanna call out, this thing only weighs like, it's less than 1.5 pounds. It's a charger, 2 amps. You could take it with you, easily stow it in your backpack, and maybe you go for a little ride and then you stop at the lodge and get some lunch or something. You could top your bike off, and that's pretty nice. I like, this is pretty generic, but it's not like some huge charger that weighs a whole lot. So Hushmang is going to pull the Fold out of the way with the fat tires, and then we're gonna go ahead and fold down the Fold S. A lot of fold going on here. And then these other cables, they do come out at the joint, and I think that's so they don't get pinched or anything. So they're a little bit external here, but not too bad. I mean, for a folding bike, I was looking for bottle cages and I saw these, but I think that's for the battery mounting bracket on the bottom. It doesn't have a bottle cage, so you might want to get like a little cup holder or maybe a saddle bottle cage, or that rack would be pretty cool. I think you could get your own rack aftermarket. Okay, so the steps for folding. I guess he's gonna, do you want to put the pedals in?
Sure.
Like that, yeah.
Get them out of the way.
Yeah, there's that first latch for safety. Opens it up, and then he puts his knee into the side of the frame to help him fold it. Yep, there we go. And then down here, it's perfect. There's that support arm we were talking about. Here's the battery. And then maybe we can put the seat all the way down. Yeah, see, so it doesn't quite go all the way down. It must hit.
It hits the bottom.
Yeah, it hits the bottom, which is fine.
Or you can remove it.
Or you can completely remove it, right? Yeah, so for limited space. But the thing is, let's go ahead and bring down the telescoping part here. Let's see, that's all right. There we go. So we bring it down, and then when we fold it, this joint is almost as high as the seat anyway. So for me, I'd probably leave the seat on, and that's what I've done. Back at the side, I measured all the specs, even the folded specs, so you get some idea of whether this would fit in your car or your closet or whatever. And then, yeah, you want to stabilize it here, Hushman?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that really helps is when you fold it, the two magnets attach the two rear wheels.
Yeah, there's the magnets we were talking
So
about.
it's a lot easier to handle when you want to lift it and put it in your car or put it in storage. Also, it makes it a little bit easier if someone's living in a condo and they don't want to leave it outside and they want to bring it in.
Right.
So you could easily fold it, lift it, carry it inside.
And it actually walks. So I mean, if you tighten this seat post there, or maybe grab it right here, you can kind of wheel the bike around without having to lift the 55 pounds.
That's right.
That's nice. That's very nice.
So for the battery, you use the key and simply pull it out.
This is so sweet. Look at this. Great labeling. Yeah, there's a little bit of a, that's good that you don't want it slopping around too much. So that's fine. But look at this. Panasonic cells. Oh, and it says 8.7 amp hour battery, so 36 volts, 8.7. Let's look at the other side here. There's the on-off switch. So sometimes if you aren't going to use a battery for a long time, you turn it off. There's the charging port, so you can charge it on or off the bike. Extreme heat and extreme cold can be hard on lithium-ion cells, so try to keep it in a dry, cool location. Don't drop it. And if you can help it, try to keep it above 20% charged at all times. Let's look at the end here. This is like the contact points.
That's right. That matches here.
Right, and then there's a handle built in. Can I see that? That was really cool. It's got some grip. Yeah, it's a pretty nice little battery, right? And it's so light. I mean, 4.9 pounds. I was really, because it looks kind of big, but it's actually really relatively light. And it's the same form factor for the 17.5 amp hour battery. That's probably why it's light. There's probably some empty space or something in there. And then he just puts it back in. I want to do a walk around here. Look at this. It was pretty cool. Kickstand and everything. I feel like Saunders has done a good job.
It's a great product, and many of us that have more than one bike, we appreciate the size of this because it's a lot easier to transport, but it still gives you the power, it gives you the range, it's easy to maneuver. Some of our high challenge riders prefer this bike. It's a little bit lower, it's easier to get on. The mid-step design really helps.
That's right. And earlier, so we're going to go through the display and stuff in a minute. We've got some fun ride footage for you as well, but I want to talk about some of the trade-offs, okay? Because there are trade-offs. You're paying $1,000 for this thing, but it's a 30-day warranty.
It's a 30-day warranty, but the Saunders support desk, they're very helpful. There's a chat room, a live chat that people can engage
on the website.
Yeah. And the support truly helps people beyond the 30 days. In addition, something we're very proud of, the Saunders owners community are very helpful to one another.
Is that a Facebook thing?
It's a Facebook thing. There's a forum, and the community has allowed us to help drive the company forward.
Cool.
And the company help drives the community forward. Many of us, I'm one of the original owners, this has become a pleasure to be part of this community, part of these bikes, and with each iterations we see improvements that makes us excited.
Yeah.
So when we have new owners that come on, when they have questions, they have no problem getting help.
Sweet.
People are very helpful. I have made many friends in Colorado,
cool.
just like yourself,
That's
through
me.
these bikes.
I
Exactly.
am also an original Saunders owner. I bought one on
That's
Indiegogo, like way the very first round.
So did I.
And I
was one
met
of the-
Storm, right? They do this roadshow thing.
That's right. That's right.
It's
You know,
awesome.
I've actually have had the pleasure of traveling to California to attend some of those
Whoa,
events.
you're a super
it's
fan.
Great. It's great. I'm a fanboy. It's great. You meet a lot of nice people, a lot of people that have enjoyed the bikes, and I would say the bikes have also changed many people's lives. There are owners that hadn't been riding in 30 years, in 20 years, they are riding regularly.
Some of the other, I want to be fair here, like there are some cheaper parts on this. Derailleur, entry level. Pedals, they're not bad. VP, there's some other folding designs, but that's not uncommon to see plastic folding pedals.
Yeah.
A lot of the things are actually upgraded.
That's right.
For me, and I think the max weight on this was 242 pounds.
Oh, almost, yeah.
Along those lines, back at electricbikereview.com, I have some forums. There's a Saunders section And you know, when the original Saunders came out, there was a lot of drama there because some people were like, it's not possible to make a bike that's like that cheap. But they did. They delivered it pretty close to on time. So we welcome your comments, right? Like on YouTube or in the forums or wherever. This is an open discussion, and it's just nice to see. I try to cover bikes from many different manufacturers, and maybe we should just unfold it now and talk about the display panel, because that's new too. Let's get up here. We have to turn it on. Is it already on? Get in here. Okay, on button. And then when you do that, the display is ready to be activated. You have to hold this little I button for a second. There we go, and it boots up and all these little menus come up. We've got battery capacity. There's 5 ticks, so roughly 20% increments. Assist level. It started in level 2, which could be a little precarious because, see, it's kind of live. So if you were getting on the bike right now, you just want to be careful or bring this down to 0. In fact, I'm going to turn it off. Okay, let's turn it on. And it started in 2 again. So it does seem like it starts in level 2, which is kind of like, you know, an average level of assist and power, but that means the throttle's hot. In level 0, it's not hot. So that's just something to be
Safety.
a little careful with. Also, if you're someone who lives in a state that doesn't allow, you know, throttles on certain trails, or maybe you just don't want it, you know, you can unplug it there pretty easily. Yeah, he's gonna, right? And look, it's color coded. So these are all, you know, that's pretty good. So we've unplugged that just for fun. Throttle not working anymore, even in different levels of assist. Yep, so it's great. We've got speed. It's in miles per hour right now, but we can adjust that. We've got a little power chart that will happen when we ride, and then odometer. If we press I, it goes to average speed, and then there's trip distance, ride time, max speed. So yeah, there's quite a few things you can cycle through. If you hold the plus and minus buttons together, they'll get into settings. But first, check this out. There's walk mode. So you can hold that, and the bike will push itself along, so you don't have to push all 55 pounds all yourself, especially if you're in like a park or something. You don't want to be riding around, or maybe if you got a flat tire. If you hold the plus button, it does backlighting. Yeah, there's a little light icon. Some of the bikes have lights wired in, but not this one. I also noticed that there was a rubber thing down here. Looks like you could have a USB port or something, but there's nothing under there. We ripped it off to check. There's no USB built in. The display can swivel a little bit, which is nice, but it's not removable. So when you're folding it and transporting it, or maybe at a rack, just be careful that you don't scratch that. You know, it is a nice display. It's pretty big, easy to read even from high up, which I appreciate. So now on to settings. If we hold the plus and minus keys, get into settings, it says trip clear, so no, and hit I. Backlighting 2, so we can raise the backlighting if we want it to be a little brighter or lower it. And then, what was this, a unit?
It's the units. It's kilometer versus miles per hour.
Yeah, that's awesome for our friends in Canada and Europe.
And if you hold the I button, it'll return you back to the normal operating mode.
That's right. And there are some deeper menus once you're in the settings, if you hold plus and minus again, or if you hold I and minus. So it's nice. It's just nice to call out that there are some extra settings, and that, you know, if you're a super fan, right, that there's actually a little bit more to this display, and maybe we'll post something in the forums. Once we're on it, there's a hill over here. I was going to do a hill climb.
Sure.
Right back there. Should we get on? Is it
absolutely
ready to do that? Let's do this. So I'm going to stow that kickstand. Pushman's going to power on his ride, and it's very similar. It's just got the little power button down there, and then power button for the display. The display's a little bit longer maybe, and then there's another power button for the throttle. So there's a little bit more going on. This is a lot cleaner over here. Okay, got my pedals right. I'm just gonna start, I'm in the highest level of assist. I'm gonna take it down to 2. Feeling pretty stable here for a folding bike. You know, 20-inch wheels don't have, they're not quite as comfortable as like higher volume 26 or 28-inch, but they are, you know, they're compact. And these ones with the slightly larger tires feel good. So here's the hill climb. I'm just gonna throttle it up. It's pretty steep right here, going about 8 miles per hour. Not bad. We're gonna make it all the way, not pedaling. That's great. So the thing about smaller wheel diameter, 20 inches, is that it gives the hub motor a mechanical advantage. So, because it doesn't have to move this really big wheel, it can move a smaller one. So that's kind of nice. And yeah, I'm going to go off-road a little bit too, just to try to simulate noise. But it's a very quiet bike because it doesn't really have any accessories rattling around. And I thought it was kind of cool that it came with the extra hardware for adding racks and stuff. Yeah, here we go. Assist level 3 to start. Feels pretty good. You know, the bike is geared right because at around 18, 19 miles per hour, I was in gear level 6, like the highest gear. And the pedal cadence felt pretty good. It wasn't like I was really spinning and kind of beating eggs like you sometimes feel. So this time I'm going to start using the throttle because I'm in the highest gear, and that'll help me, you know, reduce pressure on my knees. Thought this would be a fun view. There's so many people out on their bikes. It's just such a beautiful area up here in the mountains. About 23 miles per hour going down that hill. Felt pretty stable, pretty solid. I do wish that the bike had a bell because all these people, I kind of want to say hi in a friendly way, but that's a pretty cheap upgrade. I got my mom on the bike here. She's pedaling unassisted right now, just cruising around the parking lot. Hey, how did that feel? Did you shift gears okay?
I did real well.
Okay.
They worked well.
Now the assist part would actually be just clicking up over there on the left. Like press that plus button a couple times.
Can we raise the seat?
Sure. So now when you pedal, it's going to give you assistance, or you can press that little trigger throttle and it's like, you know, like a moped or something like that.
Oh, and it makes it increases it.
Yeah. So we'll just let this guy get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah, you feel it?
Let's go down one.
She's having fun. She says she feels young again. I recommend riding with a helmet, of course. She just wanted to try this real quick in the parking lot. Try the throttle.
Whoa. So on the hill? Wow. That'd be great. Wow, this is fun.
Ooh, that's not fun.
How tall are you, Mom?
5'4".
Will you brake and hop off? I want to see like just the clearance and stuff. Yeah, so there's plenty of room here, easy to stand over. And it, you know, it is a little bit heavier and stuff, but how's it handling for you so
Oh,
far?
it's great.
Feels all right?
Yeah, very comfortable.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Sweet.
Am I done?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. We do the handoff. I'll follow you. Oh, this is that girl who's setting up her kayak. Well, guys, we are back to the parking lot where this all began. I think that's kind of it, you know, that's the review on the Saunders Fold S with a little bit of fold action, the original fat tire. You know, having ridden both of them, this one's definitely a little squishier, but you hear it more. And, you know, it sounds like this one gets a little bit better range in your experience.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's gonna, this will be cool. She's gonna try stepping over the taller one. This is the standard fold. Still a little bit of room there, so that's why these are mid-step, right? They're semi-approachable, but that joint, see, that can bruise your thighs and your knees. So I like that on the Fold S, the joint is a little bit lower. I think, you know, we've been filming for quite a while here. I think this is a good point to drop off. Of course, I'll try to answer questions and comments as much as possible, and you guys can help each other out. That is the full review of the Saunders S electric bike. For more details, I'll see you back at electricbikereview.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah,
this was fun.
It was awesome. We drove all the way up here to meet us in the mountains, and we had a great time. Do you have any other shout outs for yourself, like websites?
Thank you for everything you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this.
And thank you guys. Have fun out there and ride safe. Cool.
Great job.
Yeah, boom.
Good job.
That's right.
Thank you very much for riding.
Oh, it was fun. You don't have to thank me for that.
Cool.
It was gorgeous.
And
It's a beautiful day.
all the people kept like stopping by.
I know.
That was fun.
One time I was thinking about like they're gonna keep talking to us.
Yeah, I know. We were like, we gotta keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not here for like 4 hours, like assembling.